My name is Jack Kennedy. I'm a captain at the Tuscaloosa County Sheriff's Office, and I'm the current commander of the multi-agency task force, the Tuscaloosa County Violent Crimes Unit. I'm here today to pass on information concerning a double homicide that was discovered yesterday in Brookwood, Alabama. Yesterday on July the 6th at approximately 1 p.m., the Brookwood police responded for a request on a welfare check at an address on Alabama Junction Road. Brookwood is a municipality, incorporated city in Tuscaloosa County. They do maintain their own police jurisdiction, and they do have their own full-time professional law enforcement police department. The Brookwood police responded at the request. The primary resident at that address was renting it and was out of the country and had a friend there house sitting and also to take care of her dog. She'd been unable to make any contact with her friend for several hours for the early evening and the next day, and had asked for her landlord to go by and check. Eventually the landlord contacted the Brookwood police for assistance to go check because something, he didn't want to be there by himself doing a welfare check. No one at that time suspected anything was really wrong, just that she hadn't been unable to get in touch with them, and this was very odd. Additionally, the renter, the primary resident, had some doorbell type cameras on the residence, and she was able to access those, and she saw a suspicious person the night before and in the early morning hours on her back porch. And once she saw those, that's when they decided to try to get the police involved. Brookwood police responded with the landlord. Immediately upon opening the front door, they found a deceased individual lying inside that had been shot. The residence was cleared, and a second victim, a female, was found in a back bedroom in the closet. She had been shot as well. Both were deceased. The dog in question was also found shot and dead inside the home. The male subject that was located was the friend or acquaintance of the primary resident that had been there house sitting, and the female was a friend of his, and there's no suspicions of anything wrong with her being there at that time. Looking at the Violent Crimes Unit immediately responded out at the request of Brookwood Police to assume that investigation. Our cyber unit, our Tuscaloosa County Sheriff's Office cyber unit and crime scene units were deployed. Looking at the video footage and some other things that were found at the house, including some electronic devices, through several different methods and avenues that were redundant, we were able to identify who that suspicious person was that was seen on the doorbell cameras, and that person turned out to be an acquaintance of everyone there, including the primary resident. They used to all work together at a local business. I'm not going to identify the business because it has nothing to do with this case, but they all worked together at this local business and knew each other and socialized together at some point in the past. Based upon that video evidence and some other physical evidence that we recovered at the scene, we were able to rapidly get a warrant for capital murder for this subject. There's different elements that can apply to capital murder, and the first initial warrant that has been obtained is for the killing of more than one person during one incident or course of conduct. We contacted the U.S. Marshal Service for assistance, and they immediately were aware of this subject. The subject was identified as DeKendrick Crawford. It was found that he already had a felony warrant for an incident last month where he had gotten terminated from a job on campus. He was not a University of Alabama employee. He worked for some type of construction or some other type of company that was contracted at UA. He was terminated from his job out there, and as he drove away, fired some shots out the window of a vehicle. Some of those shots struck a building near Coleman Coliseum, and the resultant of that were some warrants that were on. He had outstanding warrants for shooting into an occupied building. He had been diligently being searched for. I know that the Violent Crimes Unit had personally gone to his known addresses several times. and we'd also been trying to do some phone work to try to locate him, but he was clearly actively evading law enforcement at that time. Now that we had the new warrants for capital murder, we contacted the U.S. Marshal Service, and the full weight of law enforcement in Tuscaloosa County began to function as one unit last night, as we do often on critical cases of this matter. When the full resources and the exigency of this circumstance arose, we were able to send out dozens of teams to check dozens of addresses at the same time, as well as executing multiple search warrants on electronic devices for locations and other techniques such as that. We rapidly were able to locate him in an extended relative's apartment building. He barricaded himself inside, refused to come out. When that occurred, that was on Deerfield Drive in Northport. When that occurred, the Northport Police Department's tactical unit responded, along with the U.S. Marshal Service tactical unit. Before it was over, we had multiple cyber units with drones on scene, fire departments, tactical members. ALEA responded. We made a tactical entry into the apartment. It took several hours to locate him. He had actually made his way into an attic within a crawl space of adjoining apartments and was barricaded and hiding in there. In my opinion, it's a miracle that he was taken without him or a law enforcement officer being injured based on his behavior. He was taken into custody, refused to cooperate or give any statements in regards to this investigation. He's been charged with capital murder and placed in the jail. The investigation's ongoing. There's still a lot of evidence collection and gathering to do on this case. It's a terrible tragedy. These victims, we have no reason to believe, had anything to do with this. We don't know why he targeted them. They were not doing anything wrong. They had done nothing wrong to him. None of his acquaintances know why this occurred. There's some assumptions about possibly, but they're assumptions, and the assumptions are not a reason to hurt or kill anyone anyway. What we do know is that this subject did not have an extensive criminal history. The first violent offense that we can find was the shooting at university a month ago, and in that case it appeared to be shooting out a window in anger, which is a serious offense, and warrants were obtained and he was being sought for. But nothing to lead us to believe that something like this would be in the very near future. And again, he's been uncooperative at this point, and we don't know what the motive is. I will say that this was a textbook example of how blessed we are in Tuscaloosa County to have the law enforcement that can work together as well as they can. This touched every jurisdiction in Tuscaloosa County that works together. One of the victims was a University of Alabama student. Of course, we just discussed he committed a crime on campus of the university about a month ago. These murders occurred in a small municipality with limited resources in the rural areas of Tuscaloosa County. And before it was over, every major jurisdiction in Tuscaloosa was working together last night, located him in less than 10 hours, and had probable cause to charge him with capital murder and have him off the streets and in jail, where I expect him to be for the rest of his life. So,
Captain, what was the relationship between the two victims?
They were friends. I don't know that we've been able to delve into whether or not there's anything more to that or not, but they knew each other. There's nothing, the homeowner or the renter, there's no problem with her having been there. She knew who that was, not personally, but knew who she was. He was absolutely just house sitting and taking care of her dog and had a friend up while that was occurring, and there's nothing suspicious or wrong about that in any way.
And why, unless I misunderstood you, why just one capital murder charge instead of two?
That will most likely be coming. Right now, there's no bond on capital murder. Investigations ongoing. Some of these are legal questions that are going to be evaluated by the district attorney and the grand jury. Clearly, the element of killing more than one person at the same time in one course of conduct is a clear element of capital murder, and as of last night, that's what he's been charged with. There will be many more charges coming. There may be multiple counts of capital murder under different elements. Animal cruelty, for killing the dog. He stole one of the victim's vehicles and fled in it. So I don't know how many charges will come. None of that will bring these victims' lives back.
Jack, you
But
said the suspect knew both the victims and the owner of or the renter of the property there.
Yes.
Is the sense that the shooter was there with permission, or was
No,
not
the
in
shooter was not there with permission. We know that, but we don't know what his motive was. But they all worked, with the exception of the female victim that was a friend, maybe they socially, but the house sitter and the renter were good friends and co-workers, as was the suspect. The suspect had been fired from that job before he was fired from the second job with and they did know each other. They were not friends. There had been a falling out. Nothing to predicate any type of behavior like this. This is an enigma and disturbing to them as well, and to her. No one knows why this would have occurred, but they did absolutely know each other, and we can make some assumptions on motive, but I'm not going to make them because we have no idea to know if that's true. But it does appear to me that, based on the incident at the UA campus, which was his first violent incident that we have, which may or may not have actually been targeting anyone, but nonetheless a crime, and a warrant was obtained, of course, that he was spiraling into more violence. Again, this is completely no one expected or saw anything like this coming. Not his family. His family that we contacted last night while we were searching for him in multiple locations was cooperative. Can't believe that this would be him, but the evidence is absolute. It's absolute fact that he is responsible for that, and we've recovered more physical evidence to back that up after his arrest at the location he was captured. So,
If he stole their car, how did he get there?
that's under investigation.
And just to confirm, the student at U of A, was she also a part of this job, or was it just?
I don't know if she was or not.
Okay.
I know that once she was identified, the social group knew who she was, and clearly the house sitter had invited her up or brought her with him.
Can you speak more about the efforts of law enforcement to execute that first warrant? Obviously, there was no way to know what would have came.
Right. So warrants are issued every day, and there are multiple protocols for how those are done. And they start with either an individual signing the warrant themselves with investigative help, or an investigator working a case and signing a warrant. And so that warrant had gone through its normal processes, and multiple addresses had been checked, and multiple different law enforcement agencies had been involved in looking for him. He was actively eluding. Those same units and specialty units that go out and execute these warrants every day have dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of warrants a month that they execute and check. And so this was absolutely had been worked the correct way. He was actively eluding law enforcement. One of the specialty units that executes or searches for wanted persons had an active case file on him, and that was part of the reason that we were able to rapidly come up with a list of things. The place where he was located had been checked multiple times before. So again, I think Brookwood is an extended way away from his main areas of operation, out in the rural areas of the county. I think that he was actively eluding law enforcement, and again, it's an assumption, but he may have been trying to use that location as a place to hide where law enforcement would not find him, that he had no connection to, or that we would not know that he had a connection to. That is just an assumption, though. But the warrant, he had been actively being searched for and was actively eluding law enforcement. So
The building that Crawford shot into by the Colbert Coliseum, is it the Mal Moore Athletic Facility or the football training facility?
I actually don't know that personally. I know it was just it was an occupied office building, and he was driving away or being driven away after being terminated, and some shots were fired from the vehicle as it drove away, and some rounds struck a building. Of course, that was taken seriously. Efforts were made to locate him then. Warrants were obtained. He was actively being sought for. Specialty units that execute warrants have a long history of checking addresses and looking for him. I believe I was told that he had obtain multiple phones during that process. He was so actively eluding, and so like you said, but they also are working dozens and hundreds, if not hundreds, of other warrants at the same time. He was still an active case with them. And of course, when this happened here, like you said last night, we may have had up to 100 officers coming out with the federal U.S. Marshals Task Force, their analysts and everything. And with the exigency of that situation, we were able to do some more things that we would normally not be able to do on just a standard warrant as well. But no one knew that he was anything other than had made a terribly dumb decision on campus. With no criminal history, and that he would be located eventually. This is something that law enforcement does day in and day out, and there was nothing particularly pressing other than that felony warrant, but it was actively being searched for.
Captain, at the apartment in Northport, was this a situation after he was in the attic? Did he eventually just give up? Or
No, he never gave up.
So you guys went up and got him?
Yes, I mean I wasn't in there. I don't know if he. Yes, at some point, after 4 hours of tactical operations, including drones, tear gas, tactical units, walls, doors being breached, and attics being searched with canines, yeah, he gave up. He never gave up. He gave up only because he cared about himself more than his victims, and he knew that the guys that we sent up in that attic to get him would do what would not. They would defend themselves if he did anything. Yeah, this subject right here, this is a terrible case. These victims had no reason for this to happen to them.
Was he armed up in that attic?
It's still under investigation. He wasn't nothing on his person, of course, when we captured him.
Can you talk about how pivotal the doorbell camera footage was?
It's crucial. It was crucial. I firmly believe, based on all the facts that we have now, that we would have identified him as well, but of course that made it much more rapid. And
is that something that's common with a lot of cases?
very common. Yeah, doorbell cameras. Lots of folks have home security cameras, businesses cameras. All that stuff is crucial, and as well as I've talked about it all the time. But our cyber units capabilities for us to be able to download electronic devices, not just cameras, but cell phones, other devices, alarm systems. We have an integrated camera system between most of the law enforcement agencies now in Tuscaloosa that our cyber units are able to do things like search for vehicles. The fact that he stole one of the victim's vehicles was crucial to this case. We were able to track some of that as well. Again, it's just all the different elements of all the different agencies coming together and working seamlessly last night. It was just a perfect example of this, and that's what happened.
Would we be able to get access to that security camera footage?
No, it's evidence in a capital murder right now. So he has been charged. After this point, our investigation is far from over. Right, we've got lots and lots of work to do, but all of this will be turned over to the district attorney's office for prosecution, and so in some certain terms, it's their case. For prosecution, it's their case, but we're not going to do anything that would hamper that. So any type of request or things like that would go through them, but I can guarantee you the answer will be no until this case is prosecuted.
If y'all been able to go through his phones to see if he had any threats to these people on his cell phone?
All of that's under investigation.
So now that he is in custody, what are the next steps, and what would you say to the community to prevent this from happening?
Unless something comes to our knowledge that we don't know now, and that's very possible because we have a lot to do. I don't know in this case right here that these people had any reason to do that to be fearful of him at all, and that's what's so tragic about this. Of course, we may find something as we delve into this more. Just situational awareness, and this individual here is responsible for what he did. No one else did anything incorrect to cause this. There's no blame, guilt, or liability on the people he worked with, the jobs that he worked at or was terminated from, these victims, his family. There is none. He is 100% solely responsible for this conduct that he did. And that,
I know we've covered a lot of ground today, and I may have missed it, and I apologize if I did. Are you able to talk about whether at the home, did one of the victims or both of them let him in, or did he break in?
All of that, we're not releasing anything that we have to that.
I may have misunderstood. Did he live in Brookwood? Or
No.
So he made his way there.
Right. Yeah, he's not from Brookwood. I don't know if he knows people in Brookwood. The only reason he was there is because he, I think, we were told one time had ridden up there when they dropped somebody off to know where this house was. So
whoever dropped him off, could they be facing charges?
absolutely, if they knew he was there to commit a crime. Right. If he was dropped off. Right. You know, all these are under investigation. Right. He's been on the run for a month. So he could have stolen another car and been walking around. You know, we don't know that he was dropped off by another person. If he was dropped off by another person, you're out there, contact us. By coming forward, you're doing the best thing that you can to go ahead and cooperate in this. And, you know, if you just drop somebody off, that's not a crime. If you drop somebody off to aid and abet them in committing a crime, then you may have committed a crime. But
Did he have a primary residency, or did he just live?
he had multiple family members in places that he stayed. Yeah, he had no primary residence.
If this had not had happened, the primary person, I guess, that was out of the country, when was that person scheduled to be back?
I'm not sure, but they were going to be coming back, but I don't know when it was.
Jack, you mentioned the suspect spiraling sort of to greater acts of violence.
Just based on the last two encounters.
And being sort of non-cooperative, is that in sort of a traditional non-cooperative way, or is there an element of mental health here?
That we don't know. I mean, it was a traditional. He just would not. We gave him the opportunity to talk to us, and he chose not to talk to us. And of course, he did not cooperate or surrender himself when he was located by law enforcement last night. All right.
The male victim, do you pronounce his last name Duenas?
I believe that's correct. It's his name was Jose Felix Alvarez Duenas. He was 31 years of age, and then Jasmine Alexis Bates. She was 22 years of age, and Bates was an active student at the University of Alabama as well.
Would there be a mugshot coming, or would he?
Yeah, I sent one out. Yep.
Thank you, Jack.
Yep.